everyone, and welcome to Modulr AMA number 7. We're excited to have everyone here today. Whether you've been with us from the beginning or you're just discovering Modulr, thank you for joining us. Our last AMA was unfortunately cut short on X, so we uploaded the full discussion to YouTube. Since then, we've had several exciting announcements, so before we jump into the community questions, we'd like to spend a few minutes recapping everything that's happened over the past 2 weeks. So I'm going to pass it over to Chris. Hey,
All right.
Chris.
Hi, Ashley. So for those of you who may not know, my name is Chris Boggs. I am the founder and CEO of Modulr. And with me today, I have Ashley Rafford, and she is literally everything else. She handles a lot of the community stuff and communications and a lot of the reach outs. And yeah, so just wanted to sort of introduce ourselves a little bit, and also wanted to tell everyone that we're going to do our best to try to keep an eye on Telegram. So if you have, any sort of questions or whatever, try to pop those in there, because X doesn't really allow us to see much as far as like a live chat. It's probably in here somewhere. I just haven't been able to figure it out. But with that said, I guess we can kind of move on. One big thing that I would like to tell everyone is that this we're going to be changing up a little bit. So like Ashley was alluding to before, previously on the last round, we did upload the, I guess you would call it sort of like a VOD, although it was a very static image, to YouTube. We're going to be doing it this time, but we're going to do something a little bit extra. So during this um, chat, AMA, there we go. Sorry. I've got like 50 different things going on at once, but we're going to be showing off a couple different items of the stuff that we've been working towards, so that people get a little bit extra if they go over to YouTube and watch this. Hopefully we can get this uploaded relatively quickly, but it does take quite a while to upload these AMAs. Now, with that said,
So are you just, what are you going to do? Like show a little demo of what you're going to be talking about so that the listeners who are listening now can kind of,
yeah, it's sort of
understand
a
what you're gonna
bonus
do.
for everyone that's joining us on YouTube for sure.
Okay.
So with that said, what I'd like to do is pop on over to Modulr Earn, which we released, was it last week or the week before?
Last week.
It was last week. Okay. So what we did inside of here, and some of these changes really haven't been pushed out quite yet, is we've added a couple different little features. You can see in the offer section, we also created what we call these banner photos. And the idea with these banner photos is to give people that are, throwing out offers the ability to kind of show any sort of product or whatever. Right now, it's all simulated. There isn't a real offer quite yet, but it does give you the ability to earn some credits within the ecosystem, which is going to become really important here soon. You'll actually see part of it. But for those of you who may have missed it, what this application is it's a way for people who can't necessarily afford to use the platform to be able to earn credits in order to be able to use the platform. Now, as most people already know, as soon as you sign up, you're awarded a certain amount of credits to just try this thing out, because we don't want to turn anyone away. But this is sort of a self-sustaining mechanism, I guess you'd say. But inside of here, and this is really the page that most people would probably be familiar with or would use more so than anything else, is that you have a dashboard, simply says earn. Be sure to collect on your dailies so that you can get tickets in order to play inside of the arcade. We created the arcade as sort of a fun mechanism to put a bonus on top of a bonus, so people can earn extra rewards. And we've also taken the opportunity to sort of fix some of these games inside of here. So we have a couple different sound effects going on now. And through popular demand, we also have a system to where if you play the fly drone game, which honestly is just a variation of things full, yes, Flappy Bird. You can go in here, you get a nice little countdown timer, and then if I don't crash immediately into the ground, you can
This one was hard.
kind of see this working. Yeah, it's a nice little game, but yeah, I totally purposely lost there, guys. So don't worry about that. But as you can see, hey, we added 4 credits, and sure enough, if you look over here at your account balance, we populated that. So pretty huge, guys. Or at least I think it's huge. I am going to be throwing in some more skill-based games inside of here because I think that's more fun rather than spin to win. But it is one of those things where it is something that'll kind of develop over time. Oh wow, I was very unlucky there. But yeah, the ultimate idea though is to go over here into this advertisement panel. And as people kind of come into the platform, these are the people that are effectively be running these campaigns. So they'll obviously be setting their own budget, and then they'll decide how much they want to pay out um, per promotion, I guess. And then with that, they're able to throw that out. Currently, none of this is necessarily wired up. The only real thing that you can do at this point is enter a title in the description. But obviously, something like a watch, you need to upload a video. That'll be coming a little bit later, um, so that people kind of see how that works and all that good stuff. But it gives people a good general idea of where we're going inside of the system or what we're trying to build inside of the system. Oh, hey, first question. So where do we find this on YouTube? So after the stream is over, it'll be on our YouTube page, which I believe is inside of our link tree. So if you go into the Telegram, well, let's see if it works. I'll do it myself. I hope that works. It does. Yay. So if you go over to our link tree right here and you click on that, you should see our YouTube link, and then it'll take you right to our YouTube page. Be sure to subscribe because we're going to be throwing out more content on that platform here soon, especially items like this where we really want to kind of show stuff off. But
So right now, like they're not able to see it live. Like they have to
no,
wait till after this
yeah,
AMA's over and then go back, and if they want to watch the demo that you're explaining now, they'll be able to see it then.
absolutely.
Okay, just wanted to
Yeah,
make that
that's
clear.
one of the downsides with this, space is that we can't bring in our video. It's just audio only.
Well,
which-
one day we'll have a full video, I do believe so.
yeah, I think at some point we will be switching exclusively over to YouTube, which I kind of hate that, but it is what it is. Maybe
I
there's a
mean,
way that we can stream to both at the same time. I'm not sure yet.
Maybe everybody wants to see our beautiful faces.
Yeah, I definitely need a haircut, guys. So I won't be appearing on video today. And we still need to get that bar table set up over there.
Yeah, we'll get
That's literally the only thing it's missing now. But not to be too distracted here, wanted to show you what Earn looked like. But I also wanted to show you something that released this week that right now for a lot of people, it just looks like it's just static. It doesn't really do anything. But here soon, whenever we wire the back end up, it's going to do a lot. And that is Modulr AI. This one in particular is something that I am really kind of excited about. And if you're watching right now, you can kind of see why. Because one of the things that we're integrating is the ability to, inside of this AI system or AI chat system, I guess, you can just directly generate multiple different types of meetings. So you can do images, obviously, you can do that with ChatGPT. But inside of here, you can also do videos. You can do audio tracks. And there was another one, I can't remember what it is. It's not 3D meshes. I haven't integrated that one yet. But anyway, there's a
can't
lot of
think of
cool
it.
stuff that's inside of here that we haven't necessarily released yet because And this is part two of what I wanted to talk about. Is this right here is quite literally a live demo of our system. So you can see right now that we're on the Our Providers tab. That means it's coming from our services. So these are getting hosted and broadcasted out. Um, it's still locked down because we want to do some more testing just to make sure that there isn't any more bugs. But we wanted to sort of show off the interface and kind of give people a good idea of what we're all about. And obviously, I created a small video Spark that's dancing around for all of those of you listening.
Yeah, because
But
nobody can see it but us right now.
yeah, I know it's kind of frustrating. But what I wanted to do real quick is not just show you this because anybody could do this. Literally, I can hit into another chat and then, which by the way, I know the models are cold right now, so it'll take a minute. But let's say, I misspelled hello. That's okay. But what happens is that obviously whenever the system doesn't have a lot of requests in, it takes a minute. But as you can see, it clearly responded. And here's another really cool part. Let me mute the mic audio real quick because this will just echo if I.
Hello, Chris. I'm functioning well today. Thank you for asking. How can I assist you?
So I don't know if that came through on X, but we do have an integrated text-to-speech engine. And there's a really cool functionality where if you hit a conversational button, this is our hands-free. Well, hey, I did get the tooltip done. If you click this button, you can just have a conversation with the AI, and it can be more back and forth, a little bit more natural. So really a lot of cool stuff that's being built inside of here. This is the one that obviously we released this week.
And I'm glad because there are so many of you guys that had already been talking about it, hyping it up. So actually getting it out there this week has, been great. I look forward to you getting it all done because it's not just going to be like the regular AI that everybody is used to. Like it's
Absolutely.
definitely different.
Yeah, well, I think the big differentiator is what we're doing with our agent sections. So as you can see on the page here, we have what we call coding, we have another one called writer, and another one called business. The idea of coding is exactly what most people are used to today, where you have these little coding agents that go in and then they create whatever application it is. And we tried to come up with some basic templates along the way just to, give people sort of a head start. But we also created something that I really haven't seen in the wild. I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't exist already. But we created something called Writer. And the idea is that you could potentially, write full documents. You can write stories or whatever it is. And you can go in here and you can, have something with a lot of detail. Effectively, you are the author, but the idea is that you would be conversating with a ghostwriter that would inherently create characters within your story base in order to give it a little bit more richer detail, which I'm pretty excited about. And then obviously we've been playing around with business. So theoretically, you could sort of operate a business off of this thing using AI models that are running on our network, which is massive. What you don't see in here quite yet is something that is actively getting worked on is the controls for robotic systems. Being able to remote control them via an AI interface, which is seriously next level. There's a lot more work associated with that because you have to deal with lower latencies. But that's one of the things that our network does a fantastic job at. The big thing there is getting our hands on even more providers who have much more higher end machines so that they can make faster determinations on image generation or image recognition and kind of figuring that out. But anyway, I wanted to show everyone what we were working to in both the front end and the back end to get everyone sort of excited here. So yeah, let's see. The ambassador program, I believe, was another talking point that we wanted to go over. And with that, we released a good, what was it? Uh, Application this week, which, honestly, it didn't take too long, but it took away from other items. But we created that. I think at this time you may have like 50 people that are currently sort of signed up. The idea of that is that a lot of people had been asking us behind the scenes. It's like, well, hey, do you have a standard application for this? And to be honest with you, I'd never even considered it. But the idea of creating an application is actually really intelligent. So yeah, we created one. And what we will be doing next week, if I'm not mistaken, right, is we're going to be releasing
right.
the search for the next ambassador.
Yeah, we've run that for 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. So that was the other side of it is that we wanted to sort of reach out to individuals and give them, sufficient time to really kind of gain a presence and everything. Because, one of the things that we saw is that some people felt as though they missed out. So we wanted to, kind of extend it and make it so that people would have a better opportunity to be able to get in there and be part of that. But if I'm not mistaken, I think that's one of your questions a little bit later, so I won't go
Yeah.
too far in depth. But yeah, expect to see that next week. Yeah, we didn't forget about it this month, guys. We normally don't do the ambassador program at the beginning of the month. I think somebody got confused because they had thought that we just run that at the beginning of the month, and it's like, no, yeah, this one is out by a week because of us having to extend, I think it was Modulr permission by.
Yeah, I think that's what it was
Yeah.
because I did not do very good on describing details and
Mm,
I didn't put the right link. So yeah, so we had to extend that and I apologize for that. And that's another thing that we need to touch base on. We had, a lot of people who did that mission. And again, we appreciate every one of you guys. Y'all all did a great job. It was really hard, narrowing it down to just 5 winners. All of you guys were winners in my eyes. So again, thank y'all. Okay, so I guess that's the main things we kind of just want to touch base on. So we're going to go ahead and move forward. Over the past few weeks, we've released Modulr Earn, like you just talked about, Modulr AI, opened our new ambassador program, and continued expanding the platform. One thing I don't think everyone realizes is how all of these pieces fit together. Could you explain how these releases connect to Modulr's bigger vision?
yeah, absolutely. So everything that we do sort of rhymes at the end of the day, especially whenever you're talking about modular gig, which honestly we don't talk enough about. But the idea of that ecosystem is it's where people can kind of come in and coordinate and do proper work. And what I mean by that is actual physical work, being able to go out to certain locations. If we were talking specifically about robots, I'd say deploy to specific locations. But obviously, right now we're staying focused with human power at this point because as we've said in the past, and what we've discovered is simply put, there's not enough robots out there in order to be able to deploy. So our goal is to create a solid foundation or platform where doing that level of the process is already baked in. It's developed and everything. But obviously, in order to be able to do things like that, you have to have tools. So one of the things that we are working most hard on is trying to develop the tools that are sort of necessary and needed to be able to complete jobs. And that's where, things like Office, for instance, kind of come in. Being able to go in there and create documents or potentially create receipts, which reminds me, I've got to create that system as well too. But it sort of evolves into a entire ecosystem that effectively allows people to be able to utilize whatever tool it is that they need to use. And that's why AI is so massive, is because with AI in particular, it's going to be integrated into every single application within our network. Yeah, there's a dedicated AI app, but what you're going to be seeing is you're going to be seeing AI being able to control other applications within our ecosystem. And that's why it was so important. I didn't to mention this, but that's why the business agent is so important, because the business agent is going to be able to call special functions within this ecosystem in order to be able to do things like, reaching out to potential clients, running advertisement campaigns, being your call center, so to speak, which is why we also spend a lot of time on that text to speech engine, because we want to make it feel natural. Um, we won't ever create a system to where if somebody directly asks, "Hey, is this an AI?" it's going to lie to you. But we do want to create a system that works as intended and works well as far as that goes. So that's sort of the ecosystem that we're building out of all this. Um,
Yeah, it's just one ecosystem, and it's not separate products. It's all in there. You got storage, payments, office, AI, earn, assets, like future services in there, um, that people are going to be hopefully, what's the word?
utilize maybe?
Yeah, utilize. There you go. Ugh. Okay. Yeah. So it's going to be
Tongue tied.
one ecosystem, and you still have a lot to do. Like, it's massive, like I always say.
Mhm.
So I think that it's an important point, because people often see each release as an individual product, when in reality you're building an entire ecosystem.
Yeah, yeah, fundamentally, and that's the big thing that I try to make very apparent, and I try to build connections and endpoints into each and every single one. Is like, okay, how does this connect to the grand idea? And yeah, AI is the big obvious one that's going to connect to everything. But some of the other things may not even make sense, like having modular storage itself as its own separate item. um, I think it's important because you can see your data across all these various applications. But the other thing is like being able to just take your data and transport it through the network. It's like, well, no, duh, we should be doing that because our system's already designed to do it. So why don't we just make it easy for people um, to be able to utilize it? So yeah, everything at the end of the day, everything is all connected together. Um, although there is one particular item that I have been working on, and we've been working with a partner on this one, um, that I don't know if the community would necessarily like to use it, but it is something useful that we utilize. And that is our crypto application. And I think I'm not going to promise it for next week or the week after, but I do believe that it is close enough to where we could potentially release it out for people to sort of play around with. So I'll give you more details on that later, but that is one item that doesn't really mesh with our ecosystem. But what we found is that we were spending a lot of money with another provider to get the exact same service, and it didn't do exactly what we wanted it to do. So it does a fantastic job with tracking Ethereum-based wallets. But the beauty of this one is that it can expand out to multiple ecosystems. So anyway, we'll talk about
Yeah,
that a
good.
little bit more later. But I think it's kind of cool, and it might be useful for the community as a whole. Not sure yet though.
Okay. Well, let's move on to the actual roadmap of everything. One topic that come up more than anything else this week was Mainnet. Um, Chris, could you give everyone an update on where Mainnet currently stands?
Yeah, and that was one of the big things that I was sort of alluding to on the last AMA. And potentially I was thinking about doing another, quick talk last week, but I didn't have a we didn't have an agreement at that time. But I do want to share this with the community because I think that this is massive. We have been working with a little blockchain company you might have heard of called Avalanche. And we've come to the realization and the idea that it is far more cost effective and honestly uh, free at the end of the day. Not free in cost, obviously, but it's a hell of a lot less. I can tell you that much. Um, that we are going to sort of not really pivot, but move over to the Avalanche platform. Um, we literally have the exact same, we can do the exact same things running our own L1 on their networks. And there's another huge benefit that I didn't even realize, and that is if we were to roll out our own custom blockchain, it would make listing on centralized exchanges a little bit more difficult because, well, there is one way we could have done it. It, the reason is that effectively those centralized exchanges would have to have a system that is connected to your blockchain, and that inherently incurs even greater cost whenever you do something like that. So if we go with the Avalanche route, there's already systems in place to where most of your major centralized exchanges are already working with Avalanche. So yeah, there are major cost savings on that front. And to give you a general idea of what the cost delta sort of looks like here, with our current systems that are running in testnet right now, we're spending approximately about $1,500 a month in cost. If we go over to Avalanche and we run our own L1 chain, and I have to emphasize this is our own blockchain. It's just that it's hosted via Avalanche validators. If we do that, it can get cut all the way down to like $15 a month.
That's
So
good savings.
yeah, it's massive. The TPS is on par based on our testing so far. So anyway, long story short, one big announcement that I did want to make during this this AMA session is that we will soon be retiring the testnet. We still own the code, and if there's ever a need, we can always sort of bring it back to life. But I got to be honest with you, Avalanche is a magnificent platform to work off of. It already operates off of Golang, which is what we've been, doing all of our development work with, and it has a lot of foundations to it. And honestly, I think everyone in here would agree. It's sort of tested versus what we're building. So rather than us, sort of reinventing the wheel, honestly, I have made the decision to go on ahead and go that route, which means that we're still, actually, we're still on track for Q3. And I feel very comfortable in saying that because of all the extra advantages that you get from the Avalanche network. We don't, again, literally, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. So that's sort of where we stand at right now. And that's the big update for the mainnet. So breaking news.
Okay, so another question we received several times is about testnet incentives. Will testnet be incentivized, and will those rewards carry over into mainnet?
Well, if memory serves, and honestly, this was a campaign that was run by Mac. I believe he had called it drop days, and those rewards had already went out. I think I've been asked this question before.
I can't
honestly,
keep up with all that stuff, because then I was just, HR. So I couldn't help you on that.
Yeah. Well, no, you're fine. But my understanding is that all of those have already been paid out, or at least I vividly remember sending the tokens to the people that sort of won that, and that was based off of volume of transaction and whether or not we determined you were a bot. Which, by the way, there's a ton of bots that's currently circulating around on the testnet. I think there was a little bit of misunderstanding too. Is that something that would sort of continue? And what we did, and this is the reason why modular missions exist, is we effectively replaced that because we were seeing that people were gaming the system, and it was becoming more and more of a headache for us to figure out who was legitimate and who was actually utilizing it versus who was, just trying to get some free tokens, let's be honest. And the irony of the situation is that that was one of the major cost, which we've made updates since then to where we've set up firewalls to prevent people from, spamming the faucets so much. But even with that, people have already come up with workarounds on it. And anyway,
So is this something that you're just gonna?
yeah, with our pivot to Avalanche, we are going to obviously, as I said earlier, we're going to be retiring the testnet. And I want to thank everyone that has went in and done a ton of work within the testnet. A lot of that work helped lad out a ton in regards to validation testing. And I can't thank people enough for what they've done as far as doing that extra testing, especially the bots, I guess. But,
Every little bit helps, right?
yeah, that was something. Well, the crazy thing is that we developed transaction spammers that literally did the same thing, so it didn't prove anything for us. But anyway, what I'm trying to say, if I'm saying anything, is that modular missions are the items that we had replaced for that. And to be completely honest with everyone, modular missions, since they're much more targeted and they actually do help us in a very tangible way, are way more advantageous than the testnet activities that we were doing. I just feel bad that I didn't have the opportunity to discover Avalanche before we had a conversation with them. That being said, not an official partnership, but you might want to keep your eyes open because I am extremely pleased with the responses that we've been getting. Matter of fact, I need to contact one of the folks over and don't worry about it.
Yeah. Forget
yeah,
you're just talking to me. Got other people listening.
we do
Okay.
have other people.
All right, so we'll change that subject to if everybody got that. Understand that modular missions are going to be very important, guys. So, yeah. All right, so when do you think the community can realistically expect modular to go live? So, like this question, I'm assuming, like, are they talking about the whole product? That's how I kind of took it, or
That's what I'm assuming. I could be wrong.
maybe
they may have
want to
meant
see our
the
beautiful
actual
faces on
mainnet.
YouTube.
Oh
No, I'm
no,
just kidding.
yeah, there you go.
I love joking,
I would
guys.
assume that they're talking about the actual product itself, and that relates to what I keep referring to as the back end. And basically what the back end is like, I can put a pretty face out there, but if you send request out like you want to store something or whatever, it doesn't work right now. The back end fixes that. The back end is what does all the dirty work, that does all the routing and everything else. And that is what I anticipate. Well, you saw it just now where we have it running here in the lab. The big question is how it's going to fare whenever we release it out into the wild. So that's going to be interesting. But
just kinda up in
I
the air.
sense that if it's not next week, it will be the week
Oh,
after.
okay.
Because effectively all we have to do at this point is we have to re-register to those devices onto the proper network. We have a different test network, by the way. And then it just works. All the applications that we've submitted, the current AI application that you are looking at today, it's already ready to go. It's already wired up for the providers in the ecosystem. So it could come online pretty quick. But there are a couple more tests that I need to run, and in order to ensure that first off it's sustainable, and second that that it can work under load.
All right, so let's switch it up a little bit. This is going to be about some technical questions. All right, so as more devices become connected, how does Modulr protect user privacy?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the way that our system works is we use a protocol called WebRTC. And one of the things that we do is we, whenever there's a connection between two different devices on the network, much like whenever you connect to anywhere on the internet, it is encrypted. So anytime you see HTTPS in the address bar of your browser, that means that you have an encrypted session. So what that refers to is that from point to point, from you talking to that particular device, it's fully encrypted. So that's one layer. Another layer on our particular on our network is that we created primitives inside of it, so that things like storage, for instance, unless you explicitly share a piece of data to the network, meaning you have to make it public, no one can read that, and that includes the person that's actually holding on to that data, because it's all encrypted. So our goal at the end of the day is to be security aware by default. And then obviously, if you want to put things out there, like you want to share a video that you made or whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. Only things that are explicitly open should be read. Everything else goes under encryption schema in order to ensure, first and foremost, your privacy. But secondly, that, we don't necessarily have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
Because there's a little bit of liability, obviously, in that if we're not too terribly careful.
And I say later on, this will be a deeper question with deeper answers. Okay, so will Modulr eventually support communication directly between robots and connected devices?
Yeah, so this is a great question. And the answer, in short, is yes. The goal of the entire network is to make it so that whenever you bring on a particular device, and a device can be a computer, it can be a robot, it could be a 3D printer, it could be anything that drives or performs some amount of work. Ideally, in those situations, you would be able to directly communicate to that device. So for instance, well, there's a couple hurdles with television, but a TV is also a device on our network. So the idea being is that you could, if obviously you have to have an app running, you could stream media over to your television through the network. That's one instance. Same thing with your cell phone, being able to utilize that. Now, I don't know the logistics of iPhone would probably be more difficult. We should run a poll, by the way, to see if people hold Android or iPhone. We should get that done.
Yeah.
But anyway, the idea fundamentally is every single device that you bring onto the network, doesn't matter what it is, will be communicated or will be capable of intercommunication between each other. How open that is totally up to you as the person. That goes back to the security question, by the way. So we have what we call client agents, and client agents only talk to themselves or within your network. They don't talk amongst the entire network. Whereas providers, or the people that will be running provider agents, will be designed inherently to communicate to other devices on the network. So anyway, that to say, yes.
Yeah.
And that was a good question.
Definitely. Okay, so we've also had people ask about future collaboration tools. Could you eventually see features like video calls or live collaborations becoming part of Modulr?
So yes, absolutely. And that's sort of the tease of Modulr Office. So one of the things that we obviously get whenever we're dealing with robotic systems is, video streaming and things of that nature. So that technology is already in play. It just needs to be sort of rerouted a little bit. Now, from a security standpoint, and I guess I'm still on this kick, but I think it's important is in order to keep communications secure between two different points, we can do a standard peer-to-peer connection if there's only two individuals. When there's a group, that becomes a little bit more challenging because you have to move off onto a server. And effectively what we're going to be doing there is sharing a token in between each one in order to create an encrypted session in order to be able to do something like that. So again, more security, but it's a little bit more abstract. Today we can do point to point. That's what I wanted to allude to. Our goal is to try to get it to where you can actually join into group calls, which I think are way more advantageous. And we haven't released social, have we? No, we have not. Okay,
It's a lot.
so yeah, there's going to be an application out there here soon, guys, that will enable you to do a peer-to-peer connection. All you need to know is somebody's handle, and obviously they have to allow you to talk to them. But yeah, that is coming down the pipe pretty soon.
Okay. So moving on to the next thing. This right here has come up quite a bit lately.
Yep.
And I really feel like I don't know, after I'm gonna ask the question, but then I'm gonna come back to this because it's come up so much that I think people, when it comes to partnerships, some people take that different ways. I mean, you can take it different ways, but partnerships mean different things compared to other people's partnerships. If that makes sense. So anyhow, when Modulr talks about partnerships, what does that actually mean?
So when we talk about partnerships, or I guess the correct thing to do here would be to really explain what the ideal partnership would be. And that would be something that is quite a bit more organic, because there's been several different instances where we've gone into conversations with a potential partner, and sometimes we're introduced and we don't really know who this individual is. Long story short, it turns out that we're actually talking to one of our competitors. So what we look for inside of a partnership is a person or entity, it doesn't matter what it is, that meshes with what we're building. So a really good example of a really good partnership would be working with a large data center. Well, not large, but medium sized. And being able to use their computational devices, bringing them onto the network, onboarding them, having them, purchase tokens in order to, put in that level of trust. That way, they can provide services, because that's one of the big things with our ecosystem is that if your trust is high enough, then we inherently just go to you, because obviously if you do something negative, well, you pay for it. But that's ultimately what we generally look for. I mean, obviously, as all crypto projects go, we're also looking for, investment opportunities, or people that are interested in becoming investors within this ecosystem space. And then, we're also looking for individuals that are, wanting to sort of spread the message and everything like that. And that's part of what our ambassador program is, but it's not really I guess it's not necessarily tuned to KOLs, I guess. But yeah, long story short, uh, that's what we look for in good partnerships is something that
Some are, are competitors, not every company is a fit for us. And we,
right.
like,
Well,
we need long-term value.
I'll tell you a potential partner that is coming down the pipe, and this is somebody that actually, thanks to Ashley, has set up a really good opportunity. And I won't name them, but we have the potential to enable private transfers on our network using a particular protocol, and that's not something that we would necessarily have built in. And when I say that, I'm not talking about our token. I'm talking about the current Ethereum-based token. So you can potentially have private, transfers, which is going to be interesting because we can check it out and see if it actually does work. Because we have a tracking tool. So like that is a really good example of somebody that would mesh very well to us, is something that, frankly, we don't have a lot of time to invest in development. Or it isn't that we can't do it, it's just that we don't have the time. But it's a value add to the ecosystem. So that's what we look for whenever we're looking at opportunities like that. And, never feel bad that we, don't get to, I guess, partner with somebody that you're, throwing out there recommending. And also don't think that we haven't stopped either, because, sometimes these things take a little bit of time to build up that relationship.
Yes, definitely.
But that is, obviously something that we'll
And I mean,
address later.
well, and then a lot of people, reach out for marketing. And a lot of people think that that's the partnership. I've had a couple people ask me about that, and I mean, I could see how they think that, but
Oh yeah, we've had a ton of people that have messaged us through X and Telegram.
yeah,
Well, I
right.
say we, but I mean Ashley. Um, where they want us to buy their marketing services, but they're not actually a company and they don't actually really do marketing. They just
Well, we
take
have
the token
those,
and
and
run.
we got real
We do
people
have a couple.
too. It's just that's not where what we need at this time. So we're good on that end. But let's just go ahead and move on from that. So
Mhm.
along those kind of same lines, we like to also talk briefly about ambassadors representing Modulr. What role should community members play when introducing potential opportunities?
Well, yeah, and that's come up pretty recent too, hasn't it?
Yes.
So, what what we would like to see, and what we would recommend in general, and this is anybody, this isn't limited to an ambassador. If you're reaching out on our behalf, definitely don't don't make people think that they have to purchase something else in order to be able to talk to us, because that's not something that we're about. Having a conversation isn't something that we necessarily set up walls for. I mean, obviously we have a barrier, but my barrier is called Ashley. So we had a situation, I guess I can go a little bit of depth, where effectively an individual was reached out to, and this led to a very awkward conversation, by the way, where they had thought that they had to pay for some sort of program, or um, some sort of premium program or whatever, in order to be able to even have a conversation with us. And obviously that's not from us, and that's not something that we want to do, because that will literally scare away a potential partner, investor, or whomever.
Yeah, you
So
guys.
that's something that we ask the community. Yes, we love the passion, and by the way, full disclosure, you will get rewarded for that if it's fruitful. But it is something that we have to be very careful with, because obviously when somebody's going out on our behalf, um, it affects our brand, and that's something that we don't want. Is we don't want people, uh, especially potential investors, to think that we're super predatory. We're not a meme token. We're not like that. What we're doing is we're building something foundational for the world to effectively utilize. We're not here for a quick in out
Right.
job.
And you guys can always bring the opportunities to the team first. if if you don't know for sure, because everybody's all over the world, so we all speak differently, we all come
Mhm.
across different by our expressions, how we talk. So again, we do appreciate everybody, and just try to keep it professional and the communication. Make sure you're communicating good when it comes to that, because we don't want to come off aggressive and like or I don't know. We just want you guys representing Modular, like you would be representing yourself. Um, and
Right.
to the best way, like wanting to get a job, like be professional about it. Okay, so we've also had questions about influencers. Do you see Modular working with more creators and influencers going forward?
Hmm. Well, I sort of answered that just a second ago, but yeah, we're always open to that possibility. I believe somebody in Telegram chat the other day had mentioned something to the effect of, "Hey, I know this influencer. Would they be eligible for the ambassador program?" The answer is obviously yes.
Yeah, I've had a
I
lot
don't know
on
who
X.
that influencer is, but that could be sort of a faster track. It depends on the audience level, the amount of engagement and things like that.
But that
But
also has been fallen under marketing because a lot of these influencers also want us to pay them,
mhm,
to do that. And at this time, we appreciate people representing us and spreading, all of our work out there. But that's not where we're at. And it's
well,
more like,
if I could,
yeah,
just to interject real quick,
my better
is
wording.
if there's a really good opportunity and the person is legitimate, we would go for it. Um, if, however, it's well, I guess it's story time, and I'll try to make this a little brief because I know we're getting a little long here. But we had a situation where an individual had reached out to us, and this is a long time ago, claiming that they were a particular influencer, which I won't name the influencer because it's not their fault. Um, but there was a situation where we decided, okay, yeah, it's a great opportunity for us to, have a conversation and, kind of come up with a campaign and everything like that. And we went through that, and we ended up sending them some um, tokens, not our tokens, but some USDC, with the ambition of, yeah, we're going to do this, and it's going to blow up and everything like that. And we were excited about it, and to this day we haven't heard from them since. So obviously, scammer. It was a very sophisticated scam because somehow or another they were able to make it seem as though uh, that X account was in fact theirs. But anyway, whenever it comes to stuff like that, we are a lot more vigilant. And the reason that I said that is because I want to say this: any sort of, and we did this at the beginning. We should have done it last time. Any sort of influencer or somebody that is a creator. That was the word I was thinking of. Anyone like that, what we're doing going forward, and by the way, this is also true of the ambassador program, is we use Sablier, which is sort of like well, they do a lot of things, but the main thing that we utilize them for is vesting. So here going forward, what we are doing is that anytime we have a relationship like that, we will be setting up a vesting contract over a certain period of time. And obviously, if things are not delivered, that vesting gets canceled. Uh, but yeah, that's uh, that's sort of where we stand on the whole creators and influencers.
Yeah, it's just
We've had some success, especially in the early days. I will say that I am more cautious about things like that, and I believe I've voiced this previously. Is that a lot of, well, I won't say a lot of because that'll sound bad. Um, several of the people that most individuals follow are not, what would you say? They don't, well, I'll just come out and say it. They'll rug you. They'll make it seem like they haven't, but they have. Because they will do things behind the scenes in order to uh, make it seem as though, they're committed to a project or whatever. But in reality, what they'll do is they'll just start to siphon off the community over time. And personally, I don't like seeing that. I've seen it and it is not good. It's really changed the way that I have personally looked at the crypto space. And it's not for the better. Uh, Obviously, going in, we knew that, crypto was, Wild West, so to speak. But there,
It's a good project, guys, and we want we're down to the nitty gritty. We've been through a lot of stuff, and so we're being very, very cautious.
Yeah.
So
don't feel offended if we say no, but do understand that there are reasons that we won't say yes.
there you go. All right, so the ambassador program has generated a lot of questions this coming week. I've had a lot. So is there a minimum amount of EMDR someone has to hold?
Oh, nope. You just have to be a holder. The way I see it is that if you don't hold the token, then you don't really believe in the project. And I'll just leave it at that because I know we're going off.
Well, yeah, I mean, I understand that, yeah, because somebody had reached out, asking if there's a alternative pathway for active contributors since not being able to purchase EMDR at
Oh
this
yeah.
time.
Well, I will answer that one.
Okay.
The answer is yes, you can. So we obviously run modular missions. We even have modular impact. So there's ways that people can earn EMDR. You don't have to purchase it yourself.
Okay, well,
Because if you wait long enough,
glad you
we will
said that.
definitely do something. But yeah, we need to. What we're looking for is we're definitely looking for individuals that have a vested interest in the project. Let me put it that way.
Well, I'm glad that I broke that down because I had answered this question, but I don't think that I had answered it the way you did. So hopefully this person is listening. And yeah, go back to that modular mission stuff. That might be a good way because there's a lot of people that's definitely doing a great job putting, sharing our stuff out there.
Right.
And I mean, we know things happen. Yeah. So, okay. So another question we received is how will ambassadors be rewarded?
So I already sort of alluded to this, but we have a standard that we send out to ambassadors who end up sort of earning that position and title. And again, what we are doing is we're using our vesting systems so that we can kind of keep honest people honest.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. So seeing the community members discussing what makes a great ambassadors, what qualities are you looking for?
Well, first and foremost, you have to be positive in the community. Whenever you come in and you kind of spam a little bit, or you act a little belligerent, that's not going to help the cause. So definitely professionalism is a really good cornerstone of that. Also consistency, more often than not, and this is the reason that we ask people to tag us, is that sometimes we just won't catch you. And if you're what's the best way of putting this? If you're not consistently out there and you're not consistently engaging, we're going to think that you just left. And no hard feelings, that's fine. You're not hurting my feelings. But as far as continuing a relationship, I don't know why we would do that. But the other thing is helping others, and I think this is the most important thing. And one of the things that we really wanted to do with Modular Impact is we wanted people to go out and, help one another. And that could be literally anything. It could be something as simple as just asking a question about the platform. Um, you know, I try, but I'm not in until I'm around 24/7, and neither is Ash. So it is really helpful to, sort of be able to do that. And obviously our moderators do an amazing job. But sometimes you miss some things, and you know, things slip through the crack. We don't want people to feel as though they're not being heard, especially if you know the answer. Don't feel scared to really throw that out there. But the one that I love the most personally, though, is just having good feedback. uh, that has been amazing. And I know that Frostica has been the best
But yes,
at feedback. I literally, if you're listening, I literally still have your X post up. I just haven't had the opportunity to go through it. Um, the only thing that I've read so far is contrast as far as the text on this system is concerned. And yes, I'm going to be working on that here soon. That
there's
way people
so
can
many
kind of
good
set it.
posts.
But yeah, keep up the feedback, guys. It really helps a lot. Heck, that was one of the things that sort of fixed the games that we had in the arcade, which by the way, guys, I threw those together relatively quick. So it's not like it's super polished. I hope to make it better, but
And if y'all
do you
could
understand that?
make sure y'all tag the Modulr account
Mhm.
number one. If any, make sure you tag that one. Because that is the one that I check. And most of the time, that's the only one that I'm able to get to because it's just Chris and I. And yeah, it's a lot of different things. So if you could just make sure you tag the main Modulr account. And then you can tag the others if you like, just in case we end up coming across it. Because things happen. So yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to add
Uh,
to the ambassador
think
thing?
I think I saw a question in here. Since robotic things have been paused for now, is the previous team still working with you guys? So a lot of individuals that were on that side of actually it's really just one, from what I know, um, have went with controller. We're still iterating on our own product types, obviously. Um, but they purchased a license from us, as we've explained before, so that they could sort of hit the ground running. So as far as those individuals still being here, no. The people that are here are the ones that we've listed on our website. So that would be obviously myself, Ashley, Jamin. Um, well, yeah, we need to update that, I guess.
Yeah.
But anyway, with that said, um, yeah, and we always wish them the best. As far as their endeavors and all that good stuff is concerned. Um, I do worry about them every now and then.
Okay.
But yeah, we're good. I'll
right.
quit talking now.
No, sorry. It's yeah,
I hope
this
I
is
didn't
gonna
miss
be
any more
a
questions.
this is well, I was trying to look and then we got sidetracked
Oh,
quite a
hey,
few
take a look.
times, but
We had somebody by. Thank
hey,
you. If
thanks,
you're
guys.
listening, thank
Yeah.
you.
All right, so this comes down to the ecosystem. One of the community member made an interesting point this week. Instead of asking, when can I stake? They suggested asking, how does the ecosystem become sustainable?
Oh, the ecosystem becomes sustainable once we start, building a solid user base and building up the provider interface, especially the providers, because like I was saying before, we don't have staking per se. We have the trust system, and the trust system is basically staking. It's just that not everyone does this staking. So we don't ask people to simply, put up a certain amount of tokens in order to earn rewards off of those. What we do is we say, hey, if you want to provide services to the network, you need to put up a certain amount of tokens. And obviously, people need to purchase those tokens, which is going to create that sort of flywheel effect, if you will. I normally don't talk about price or anything of that nature very often, but use your imagination as to what will happen whenever that goes in. Not to mention, things like, minting assets on the network. Those are going to be exclusively through our token. And, going back to what I said at the very beginning with users, obviously, if you hold the token, you get more credits in our ecosystem. So it's kind of silly. If you know how to do crypto, just do it that way. The reason, again, that we did that is that we obviously pay fees whenever you use a credit card via Stripe. So we don't give any bonuses for that. We only do it through our crypto token. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity there, but that's why we're hitting it so hard with the product, which I thought somebody had asked that question before too. And the
We got a
the
lot more
thing is
questions.
like, hey, we got to get the product finished and finalized and working. So yeah, that's what makes the token usable. Which, by the way, hey, you can spend it today if you want to. It totally works.
So why has Modulr chosen to focus on building products and utility before staking?
I literally just answered that question, except for the fact that we do not do staking.
That's
Yeah.
That's why I said I was trying to find that question.
So with that said, I think that's sort of the end, right? We didn't have any more. I didn't see any more in the Telegram chat. So I just wanted to make sure, but I don't know if you had any left. Feels like we're kind of answering the same question.
Yeah, because well, I would ask you, and then like you would answer, and like I was trying to keep up because
Oh no, you're
that's
fine.
all right. So I apologize, you guys, for that.
No, it's totally fun. And I don't want to bore people because I know we went over an hour here.
Oh, I
and
know.
That's a little much.
This
you got
one is
one?
important.
Okay.
So the last AMA we had discussed before we got cut off, and then we did this poll about the
Yes, I know what this is.
proposal involving the liquidity and the token burns.
Yes.
So since then, we received additional feedback. One community member suggested locking purchased tokens instead of permanently burning them. Can you explain how the team is evaluating that feedback?
Yeah, I'd like to. I don't know if we responded to that individual or not, but I'd like to learn a little bit more about what their thought process is there, because I would assume, and I could be wrong, that a lot more people would be excited about those tokens just being completely out of circulation. Again, on the Ethereum side. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, ultimately, I guess locking still does that, but I mean, we can throw that out as a potential proposal. But my suspicion is that most people would be like, "Nah, just burn it," because at that point, there's literally no way. Because at the end of the day, and I think what is it? XRP does this, where they have a certain amount of tokens that get locked up, and then over a certain time, they get released to them, and then they decide whether or not they want to take them or relock them up. And I think that would sort of be that sort of idea, but I could be wrong. I hate assuming what other people are thinking without more details. But it's an idea. But the ultimately, for everyone that's missed it, is this will be a one-time thing. The idea is that what we will do is we will take out approximately 5%. Well, not approximately, it is 5% of the liquidity. Out of that, we will burn off the MDR that comes from it, because anytime you do that, you hold the token as well as the Ethereum or whatever token you paired with. It's always Ethereum with us. Anyway, we do that. We burn off the MDR. With the Ethereum, what we do is we take that and we use that as strategic buybacks. And as we do those strategic buybacks, we also burn those tokens on top of it. So it's sort of like a double whammy, which we got this from one of our great ambassadors, which, this is one of the amazing things that we love the most about our ambassador community, is because, they're out there, and they're part of, the crypto space, and sometimes whenever you're in the thick of it, you just don't see the big obvious. So that's sort of where we're at. It is again a one-time thing. I think a lot of people were concerned that that would have been a consistent ordeal, and no, that wasn't the idea behind it at all. We wanted to see how popular this idea could be, and it appears to me that most people are into it. I think the only other item, I don't think anyone said no. I think the only
they
other
just asked for
thing is that
details.
they wanted more details about it. And
I did drop that in the comments.
yeah,
And now it may not have been on the main one, so I will go back and look, but I know I did drop it down. I broke it down, so I will check that out after this.
yeah, I vaguely remember that we created a little graphic too that
Yeah.
kind of went through it step by step, and we can post that out again, guys, if you'd like us to do that. But I think that's sort of the gist of it.
All right. So what can community members do today that generally helps Modulr move forward?
Well, I think again that kind of goes back to what we were saying before. Is just being a positive influence to the community, and bringing other people in, spreading awareness. I think that's the most biggest thing. Is like, it can't be a secret. I know some people are like, I caught it. I want to be the only person that knows. That way I can, buy a bunch, and then whenever it inevitably goes up, it's like, oh yeah,
Just
now
stick
I can
with
sell it.
us.
No, the best thing that you can do is communicate out and tell other people about this project and what we're doing. I mean, the biggest thing is most of the projects that you see out here, other than meme coins, I sort of separate those out because meme coins, you already know what you're getting into. But a lot of the projects out here, they talk, and they might have a white paper or something, but they never really do anything. Obviously you can see that we're doing things. We're releasing products. We're actually a real ecosystem, and that helps us a lot for a couple different reasons. But like, that's the huge differentiator. Is like, if somebody ever asks and they're like, oh yeah, well, what are they doing? It's like, well, just go to their website and use the application. You can see what we're doing. So I think that alone is good enough
Oh, yeah,
in some
definitely.
cases. But I'm not finished as far as that's concerned. I'm never satisfied with what we have.
It's massive.
So it's
massive.
it's a constant build effect in what we're doing, and we want to provide value to everyone and to give people something that they really sort of would like to use and work with.
All right. So before we wrap it up, I do want to thank everyone who joined us today and submitted questions throughout the week. We truly appreciate the continued support and feedback from our community. If you haven't already, visit modulr.cloud, check out Modulr Earn, apply for the Ambassador program, follow us on X, join us on Telegram and their community, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and thanks again for joining our AMA number 7.
All right, guys. Well, just real quick, I want to appreciate everyone that came in and joined the community. And I just want to say thank you for being the best part of Modulr. And we will see you maybe next week. Who knows? See you guys.
Have a good weekend.